Hello everyone, I'm just going to show you how to install your own Kali Linux virtual machine. So I'll add some links below in this video description on how to install your virtual machine and where to find the Kali Linux ISO, which is this file I have just here. You'll want one which is either 32 or 64. Most general computers would be a 64-bit, but there might be an off chance that you're running a 32-bit operating system, in which case I would advise you get a better computer, but hey ho. So I'm going to start my virtual machine. So let me just find out where I kept my... Oh, here it is. Okay, so once you've finished installing your virtual machine, just go ahead and open that up. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new virtual machine here, and it's quite convenient Windows, because as soon as I start typing in the name Linux, you can see automatically it's duplicated my type to be Linux, my version to be Linux. So it's quite nifty like that. You can also change the directory of where you want to save your operating system, your machine itself, which is quite good, because if you wanted to run off SSD and you normally would run off a hard drive, then it's quite convenient. If you want to increase the speed of your virtual machine, you can go ahead and just save that into the SSD. So I'm going to go ahead and just call this, I'm going to call this one Kali Linux, because it's a Kali Linux, and I'll go ahead and press next. Here's your choice of RAM, how much RAM you'd like. I generally will go for 4, that's fine. You can go for more. Just be cautious that you are using your own RAM here, so you want to make sure you don't overdo it, because obviously you're running this on your own host machine and you don't want to overdo it. So we'll create ourselves a virtual hard disk, which is different to a physical hard disk. So we'll go ahead, press next. Now it's saying here also the recommended size is 8 gigabytes. I'm going to give this one a healthy 30 or 40 size hard disk, and yeah, I'm just going to go ahead, as you can see, just press next on that bit, and also the dynamically allocated. So you can see it's already given me the default of 8 gigabytes, which is really helpful, but I'm going to go ahead with 30. Okay, just in case I need that extra bit of space, really. So you can see here it's created the machine, but we're not ready just yet. What we do need to do is, as soon as we start this up, it's going to recommend what we want to boot from. So you can additionally do, I believe you can additionally just change that around here within the boot order, but I'm going to be lazy and go ahead and do it this way. So the virtual machine has actually popped up in my second screen. You can't see it right now, but it's just over here. But I'm going to go ahead and just click what I want to boot from. So here you can see I've just selected to boot from here, and I need to add my new ISO, this one which is the new version of Kali Linux I've just downloaded. So I'll go ahead and just download that, and it's now created this as a medium to boot from. So I'm going to go ahead, press choose, and from here we'll tell it to start. This will boot the machine from that ISO, which is good, but you have to have in mind this is now it's booting from it in a live format. So if we go ahead and just boot as live, it's not actually going to install the operating system, it's just going to boot it in a light mode version. So if you want to physically install, you can go ahead and install that down here, graphical install. I'm going to go ahead and just boot it on live, because I want to show you something else as well. So it's always good if you're booting a any machine really, with the virtual VM box, VirtualBox, you can select from here the devices, and you can see here we have a selection to insert guest edition CD image. This is really helpful because it comes with packages to make your screen variable, so that it can change in size, because at the moment it is limited and it will stay that way until I increase that. It also has various other uh, applications which will make it more convenient. Also to mention, it can do the drag and drop. So although here if we select drag and drop and also with the shared clipboard we enable this, it's not necessarily going to allow us to copy. So I'll just demonstrate that here. So if I just put in here test and I copy that text and then I attempt to then paste that here into the terminal, it's not going to work, see? So we don't actually have the option to paste. So before I jump ahead of myself, I'm going to just go ahead then and insert the guest additions. Okay, we'll do that after in that case, because we need to just run a few other things for that to work. So if you wanted to keep this as live bootable, you can. It's quite convenient if you just want a single ISO to use that single time, and then to when you reboot, though, you won't be using this again, this version, so everything will be erased if you boot again from the ISO. So I'm going to go ahead and just select. We should have an option then to install this. I think it'll be in file. As you can see, I've really thought this out because I don't remember where the install is. To be honest, I'm probably going to exit out and install it that way. So yeah, we didn't have anything to install from, so yeah. So let's log out and yeah, let's log out. So yeah, I can power off through the virtual machine itself. Yeah. Okay. Another thing to note, now that we have our own operating system, once it installs, I'll show you here how you can change some optical drive choices. So let's go ahead, boot it again. And this time I'm going to go down to graphical install. And we'll just give that a minute or two to boot up. And as you would most operating systems, let's go ahead and choose where you live. I live in the UK, so I'll select that option. This might take a few minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as default for the name. Domain you don't need to choose. And password for the root. By default, root for Kali is Tor, which is root backwards. So let's see if it'll allow me to keep that. I'm not too bothered about anyone knowing my password. I'm sure no one's going to know find anything interesting on this machine. Okay, so we'll use an entire disk. I'm going to use the only disk, which is the virtual one. All files partition, and finish partitioning write changes to disk. If you continue, changes will be written to the disk. Yes, that is fine. Okay, so we finished the installation, and I'm going to go ahead and press next for the network mirror. We can leave most of this as default and blank unless if you're more experted at this than me. You can see at the moment my cursor is kind of messed up, but I'm hoping this will rectify once I update the machine. This hasn't happened to me before, so it should be fine. I'm going to press continue. select the virtual hard disk that we just created before, and we'll let it finish the group bootloader installation. Okay, now that it's finished the grub loader, we can go ahead and continue. Finish the installation. Shouldn't be too much longer. I think what I'm actually going to do now is just go ahead and close down this session and power it off and do what I should have done from the start, which is to increase the CPU. So we'll go to settings on this selection, make sure you select it and then settings, and then go onto the system, processors, and go increase this to 3 CPUs right here. Also what I'll do is I'll go to the optical drive. I think I may be able to choose from here. Let me see. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and select the IDE secondary master optical drive and click on choose create disk, and we want to go for the VBox guest editions ISO. So we'll choose this, and this will just mount a disk to the virtual machine. So we'll start this up. It should be a lot smoother now this time, and this time you'll see it will boot from the actual hard disk rather than that ISO we had previously. So there we go. Now here you can just go ahead and press enter, but it should just load eventually by default, and it will go ahead and start our session. Also, if you wish to exit out from this, just right click the control by default to move your cursor out of it, and you can change that. It's called the host key, so you can see here it will always tell you what your host key is at the bottom right hand corner of your virtual machine, so just so you know which one it is. I'm going to let that boot up. I'll be right back. You can see also it's rectified the glitchy cursor, which is a plus. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type root, and the password by default for Kali is Tor, which is root backwards. Oh, lovely. We can also see it's rectified the resizable screen by itself automatically, which is nice. Because it is a bit of a tedious process to do manually, but you can do it if you still have that same issue with the screen not resizing. Okay, so we have our own version now of Kali Linux. It's installed from the hard disk, and we have a nice 50 gigabytes space. And so a few things I do at this point is just to run update. So sudo, just go ahead and open your terminal from here, type in sudo apt-get update, and so sudo will boot it from root. Apt-get will be a command to find the package that you wish for, and update will update this machine. You can also do upgrade, which is also equally helpful. So that's all fine. So go ahead, clear. Okay, and that's how you install a Kali Linux operating system. Thank you.